Ecurie Bertelli restore pre-war Aston Martins, and today we have the privilege to find out about the heritage of this fantastic company and discover the partnership between Ecurie Bertelli and Haas Automation UK. Robert, I want to find out more about the relationship and the synergy between two very iconic brands. But before I do, can you tell our audience a little bit more about Ecurie Bertelli, please?
Yeah, certainly. So Ecurie Bertelli was originally set up by Nick Mason, who's obviously well known for drumming in Pink Floyd. So he set that up in about 1976 under a different name called Montaigne Engineering. It's passed through a few hands since then, but not very many. And it's always specialised in Aston Martins built before the Second World War.
Now, these cars look absolutely amazing, I must say. Can you kind of give our audience a little bit more information about them in regards to the specifications, the applications, how they're used, and the kind of client base that you have?
Sure. So Aston Martin started with Bamford and Martin, and they produced a side valve car in very limited numbers. They managed about 60 before they unfortunately went bankrupt. And then Bert Bertelli bought the business and carried on the very sort of ethos of lightweight racing cars. They did obviously make cars to sell as well, but the total number they built was about 681, around 450 are left. So we're about 0.5% of all Aston Martins ever built were in this era. Predominantly there's always been about competition, so racing and rallying and trials, which were quite a big thing pre-war. And the ethos has always been about light, simple and speed, also reliability. So the cars are expected to drive to places like Le Mans and then race for 24 hours and then drive home again.
And they're still doing that now?
Still doing that now, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a customer who drove his car from Belfast down to Mantover. It's about 1,500 miles, did a 1,000-kilometre rally, drove it back here, and then we race prepped it and it went out racing the following weekend.
So I assume that this would take a lot of restoration in regards to wearing parts that would need to be replaced. How have you been manufacturing these parts?
Sure. So Aston Martin made the majority of the parts themselves. So there's very little commonality between different types. So we are very fortunate in that we have a massive archive which includes thousands of original works drawings, which are all two-dimensional, hand-drawn. So we have been using those to manufacture on manual machines for decades. So we've begun the switch to CNC and digital techniques in the last 18 months.
And that really brings us on to the synergy and the relationship between your business and Haas Automation UK. How did this start?
Well, it started with a conversation with the person who runs the UK arm of Haas, who then very kindly sent one of the sales team here, and he assessed what we were doing and looked at all the sorts of parts, and then we worked with him to choose a machine, which was duly installed, and then Haas provided training for us, and then has supported us ongoing with queries and things that we've needed, and how to set up the machine properly.
You mentioned that you manufactured all these parts on manual machine tools prior to investing in a CNC machine tool.
Yes.
So far, has the transition to a CNC machine tool been successful?
I think it's been successful. It's not been without challenge, but we've been very well supported through that. We are seeing the speed at which we can make parts improve, and the overall accuracy is better as well. So
and when you mention accuracy, does repeatability play a big part in this investment?
It does. So a traditional purchaser of a CNC machine is, I understand, likely to do a batch of a large number and then move on to something different. So we're entirely different in the way we approach it. So we run very small batches, maybe 10 or 20 components, but we know that we will be repeating that next year and the year after and so on, all the way through as long as this business persists. So for us, it's that repeatability over time which is really key.
And the evolution of your business and the relationship with Haas, can you see this moving further into the future?
Absolutely, yes. So we are assessing our requirements for improving or increasing the tooling that we've got. So we've got a mill at the moment, but we're actively looking in regard to a lathe as well to complement that. And then as we hopefully keep switching more and more parts into digital, into CNC, then we will look to make sure that we've got the right tools for the job.